Our next chapter is all about measurement, and we luckily get to start off going over metric measurement, which is something that really is just based off of our base 10 system, so it's really just adding zeros. We'll get to eventually our customary measurement as well, going over feet, inches, cups, ounces, pounds, all of those numbers we have to memorize for conversions. But for metric, it really is just base 10, so it's going in between numbers and adding zeros. So we're going to take a look at what that looks like. The best way to kind of remember how to convert these metric units is really doing the same way I did and probably your parents did, is memorizing this chart. So kilo, hecto, deca, the base systems of meter, liter, gram, and then deci, centi, and milli. So the way I learned how to memorize this, and probably your parents too, is kind of a saying, which is a little silly, but it really does work. So each of these starts with a letter. So kilo is K, deci is D, and so on. So we have KHD, B for base for all of those for their base regular units, and then DCM. So the way you can remember this is King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. So it's just an acronym to remember the order of those letters. Make sure you have the order of the chart correct. So when you go to do a conversion, you can just draw on your page, King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. KHDBDCM for your chart. So that way, when we do the rest of the steps for inputting numbers, it really is a lot easier then to know how many zeros to add. And for our particular fourth grade standards, you don't even have to worry about hecto, deca, deci. All we're really going to do are conversions between the K, so kilo, the base unit, and centi and milli. But we still want the chart because we still need to move between with our zeros. So we're starting our very first lesson off with length units. So looking specifically at the first base unit of meter. So for example, let's say a problem is asking us to convert 4 centimeters into millimeters. The first thing we're going to want to do once we have our chart drawn is place the 4 centimeters in obviously the centimeter column under C. So we have our 4 in the C column. From here, we can say how many jumps it takes to get from centi to milli because it wants to convert from centimeters to millimeters. We can see it takes one jump to the right to get from centi to milli. And essentially what we do with that jump is we move the decimal point exactly like it is in the chart. So instead of having just the decimal after the number 4 now, we're going to move it one place to the right, turning it into 40. Therefore, we can say that 4 centimeters is equal to 40 millimeters. Let's take a look at another problem now and to get some more practice in. Let's say it's asking us to convert 7 kilometers into meters. So again, the first thing we're going to have to do is place a 7 under the K column for kilometers. Then we need to go to meters, so we're going to see how many jumps between the columns it would take to get to meter. We can see it would take us 3 jumps to get to the meter column, which means we're moving the decimal to the right 3 times, which means we're going to have to add 3 zeros, which means that our final answer is going to be 7,000 meters. Let's do one more to really get the hang of it. Let's say we're starting in 2 meters and we need to get to centimeters. We would again place the 2 in the correct column, in this case meters, which is our base column. And we need to get to C because it's asking for centimeters. Again, we would draw our arrows on our paper that we drew our chart on and see, well, it would take us 2 jumps to get to centi, which means we would move our decimal point 2 places also to the right, adding those zeros. So that means that 2 meters is equal to 200 centimeters.